guys, I wanted to talk today about my fertility journey and my fertility problems, and how I had gotten pregnant with my daughter. Now, before I go into that, I do understand that there are other women and couples who are having far worse problems getting pregnant and more severe problems with infertility. So compared to them, my problems seem very mild, but I thought it would be, fun to let everybody know about my journey on getting pregnant. And if you hear my daughter in the background, my husband does have her, so she's not in there by herself, and she is up and about, so she's probably playing and such. Anyways, I did want to go ahead and start by saying that I did try to get pregnant at a really young age. My husband and I had always knew we wanted kids, and although I was very young, I believed at the time that I was ready for a baby. I am glad that we had my daughter at the age I did have her versus the age we originally were trying, because you really need the kind of foundation that we built as time progressed, such as getting our own house to where we had the space to, sprawl out. She had her own bedroom. We got married financially and stuff like that. So I am really glad that we had her when we did versus when we were first trying. But it started when I decided to get off of the depot shot. I had been taking the shot for I think about a year and a half, maybe 2 years. I'd stopped it in January, and the doctor told me it could take up to 9 months to a year to get it completely out of my system. And it was about 9-10 months. It was about October whenever my cycles actually started getting to somewhat of a normalcy. I have always had problems with my cycle being consistent and normal. Sometimes I didn't know when I was going to get one. Sometimes I didn't know when it was going to stop. So I've always had those problems, but I honestly didn't see it as an issue because it always been that way. So after a while of trying, it didn't happen, and so I went back to the doctor and said, what's going on, what can I do to try and help this issue? Because at the time, me being so young, I thought it was gonna be a time or two and I'd be pregnant and we'd go about our business. It was gonna be that easy, but it was not. When I went in, she did blood work and ultrasounds and stuff like that, and she had seen fibroids on my ovaries, and she had initially ruled out that I had PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome. And it can mess your periods up. It can keep you from ovulating or make you ovulate at different times. So it's really hard to kind of pinpoint when that happens. So it makes it really difficult to try and plan pregnancy. So I knew that this was a thing at this point. And we had tried, I know, a fertility medicine called Clomid, and then we tried metformin, which was supposed to help me regulate and stuff like that. Neither one helped, so I didn't want to do another thing in the Clomid because I knew that there was issues with that after you did it for so long. And the metformin, I just decided to stop because I didn't see it going anywhere. It wasn't doing anything. And then I think she'd put me on a 5-day progesterone pill, and it just did not do well with me at all. It made my emotions all wonky. It didn't match with me. So after that, I decided to switch doctors. And when I first went to my new doctor, I told her everything that had happened, and she wanted to do some more tests, more ultrasounds, more blood work to make sure that that's what it was. So we had done all the blood work. She had done the ultrasound to check out my fallopian tubes, my ovaries, my uterus. She wanted to make sure everything looked okay so that there wasn't any other underlying problems that could keep me from having a baby or get pregnant. So she checked everything out, and she did rule out that it was PCOS, and that I didn't want to do any more fertility medications or anything like that. So we kind of just went about our way. We tried a pill form birth control to try and regulate those periods so it'd be easier for me to pinpoint the ovulation. And I did that for a little while. I didn't like it. I just decided I didn't want to be on any type of birth control, period. So I had dropped off all the birth control, and I had decided to wait it out, and my husband and I moved out and got our own house, this one we're in now, after we'd gotten married. And about 4 months, about 3 to 4 months after we moved in, I had, it was about 3 months, I'd started having, I believe, a hormone imbalance. My hair had started falling out. I was crying all the time. I missed my period by like 3 weeks, so I just knew. I knew it was a pregnancy. I took test after test after test, and of course you get that big fat negative. It was awful. And after so many negatives and about 3 weeks went by, I'd finally started, and I just broke down. I broke down to my husband, and I said, I don't understand what's going on, why I can't get pregnant. And I'd made an appointment back to the doctor, and I had told them I was having a hormone imbalance from what I believe, and I told them what was going on, and they said that they agreed. So they had made my appointment about a month out. So that was set. Everything went back to normal. And then the next month rolls around. I start having the same things happen. And I was like, okay, this is another hormone imbalance. That's what we're dealing with. And then I started getting real fatigued, and I would go to bed instead of at 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, I would go to bed at like 9:30, 10 o'clock. And my husband called me one night on his way home from work and said, he went to talking to me, and I said, this hormone imbalance has just got me, all messed up. I'm going to sleep earlier. I can't stay awake, and it's just getting worse. And he said, well, you're just going to have to tell the doctor when you go. And this was about a week before my appointment. The day comes around that I go to my appointment, and I go in there, and they said, is there a possibility you could be pregnant? And I said, no, this is definitely a hormone imbalance. And they said, well, have you taken a pregnancy test? And I said, no. I said, because I'm pretty sure this is a hormone imbalance. And they said, well, we have to take a pregnancy test to rule that out. And I was like, okay, whatever, we'll take one. So I went, did the little pee in the cup thing, and I went back to my room, and I just waited. And all of a sudden, the nurse comes running in there, and she opens the door. And at the time, the door was back about like my door is in here, and the bed is facing this way towards the wall. And so I just kind of turn, and I look at her, and I was like, what? Because she kind of looked at me, she was like real surprised. She kind of looked at me like all surprised like. And I said, what? And she said, you're pregnant. And I was like, no. And I was just in shock. Like, it was just shock. And she said, yeah, you're pregnant. I took 2 to make sure. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I start squalling for one, because this has been like a 2-year journey, maybe more. I don't know. I wasn't keeping count. But I know for sure it was like 2 years. And I start crying, and I just start praying and thanking the Lord for this opportunity. And I was so excited, and I was ecstatic. I was over the moon. Well, then the doctor comes in, she talks to me, she tells me all this stuff, what I should expect, when I should come back. She went ahead and got the blood work while I was there to confirm the pregnancy over the blood work. And it was just amazing, I don't think I really did anything differently. aside from the fact that I didn't pay attention. I know that a lot of people say if you forget about it and if you just start doing that whole, if it happens, it happens, if it don't type deal, you're just not stressing too much about it, it'll happen. Well, I mean, when you're trying for a baby, you think that you're not, you think that you're not thinking about it, but you really are in the back of your head. And at the time, like I said, we had just moved into our house a couple months before, so I was busy unpacking, and I was getting everything in line, trying to figure out places, for things in the house. So I was a little busy, and plus I was working a 40-hour job at the time, so I wasn't paying any mind to trying to get pregnant at the time. And that's when it happened. And the Lord knew that it was my time. I didn't plan it, and it just happened. So, I know it took me 2 years of personally trying. I never had to do the implantation, where I had to go to the doctor to do that. I never had to do the shots, for fertility, thankfully. I do keep those people who have to in my prayers, because there for a short time I really did think that I was, not going to be able to get pregnant, because when you're trying so hard and you want it so badly, that's what your mindset is. And even though, like I said before, I told my story just now, I know that there are people and couples who have more severe cases, and mine seems extremely mild, compared to theirs. But again, I keep those people in my thoughts and my prayers, because I know the mindset. I understand I don't want to say depression, because I will say depression. I kind of got depressed during that time, and I understand the heartbreak of all the negatives. I probably could have filled a room full of negative tests that I got over the 2 years of us trying. And just the disappointment every month when it came. So, again, like I said, I understand that my case wasn't so hard compared to all those other people that were going through it. But again, at the time, that mindset is just awful. And I thank God every day for my daughter. She is 6 months old now, and it has been such a blessing. My pregnancy seemed pretty easy overall. I didn't really have any problems. I know at the beginning when they took the blood work the first time, they wanted me to come back and retake the blood work because my levels weren't as high as they wanted them to be, and they wanted to make sure that they were going up. So I did come and do that, and I remember being extremely scared and nervous because I'd never been pregnant before. I didn't know if that was a thing, if that was normal. But when I did come in, thankfully my levels did double like they were supposed to. And we got to see our little girl at 6 weeks. And she looked like a little pinpoint on a thumbnail. She was so tiny. And I remember just being so grateful. Her heart rate was wonderful. Every single time we had went to the doctor or the ultrasound, everything seemed wonderful. I do remember at 10 weeks, I squalled my eyes out whenever I had left the doctor because we couldn't hear her heartbeat over the Doppler, because she always moved. She was always very active when she was inside, so we never could pinpoint it. And I remember crying so hard whenever that happened because I thought there was something wrong or something like that. The doctor didn't seem very concerned, but me being a first-time mom, a worrier, and someone who really, really tried to get pregnant, it seemed like, the end of the world at the time. And when I got to hear her heartbeat for the first time at 14 weeks, I cried again. I do remember it was the ultrasound before my last, or it may have been the very last ultrasound. It was the very last ultrasound. I remember her belly seemed to measure bigger than normal, like not bigger, but like the 80th percentile, and it almost reminded me of a little frog belly, and it made me really nervous. I remember, going to my follow-up appointment about it and just, being all, just worried to death about it to my doctor, and she said it was fine, that it'd be fine, that the baby looked fine and it was normal. But I remember worrying about that until she got here because of the way that ultrasound tech looked whenever she did the ultrasound. But anyways, we ended up having a healthy 7 pound, 6.6 ounce, 20-inch long little girl born at 3:07 a.m. I labored all night. But like I said, I know that my fertility journey wasn't near as severe as some of these other women's are, but I do know at one point in time it felt like I was never going to get pregnant. And anytime I see any type of posts like that on social media or Facebook, I always reshare it because I just understand that feeling. So if you're watching this video and you're one of those people that are struggling, your time will definitely come. There's a reason for everything, and I completely believe that God knows what He's doing and He knows when it's time. So just keep your head up, continue to pray, and if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and if you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comments. Alright, bye guys.